So, Happy New Year, everybody. This is the first session of the year. So, we still go to study this book. Tonight, I'm skipping 2 pages. Actually, we should start on page 96, Steps Towards the Realization of Truth. But we're going to skip that page, and we start reading from page 99, paragraph 16, until the end of the chapter. The end of the chapter is page 103, so it's still quite a few pages to read. So if you would like to go back home to read those couple of pages that we will skip tonight, but I will be talking about those couple of pages, but I thought it's important to actually read those pages, page 99 to 103, and then I will talk about those the content in those skip pages. All right? So let us start reading. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay. Paragraph 16. Page 99. In that way, Master Gautama, there is the preservation of truth. In that way, one preserves truth. In that way, we recognize the preservation of truth. Okay. This is actually a very interesting subsection. Everybody finished reading yet? Okay. A very interesting subsection of this chapter 3, the approaching the Dhamma. And actually, it correlates, it echoes with the previous chapter 4, investigate the teacher himself. But here it comes, this investigation by whom? By whom? By a Brahmin. By a Brahmin, right? So I expect most of you know what is a Brahmin. And among the caste in India, where does Brahmin fit into? The top. How many castes in the old days? No. 5. Yeah, 5 castes. So the Brahmin believe that they are born from the mouth of a Brahma. Yeah, so that's why they think that they are the noblest or the highest. So and whereas the working class are born from the souls of the Brahma, that's why the working class are the lowest. So there are five castes in the old days of India, which Versha said that it is still there nowadays. When you go to India, you will see. So actually this subchapter, this chapter 5 or a subsection 5, is actually most of the questions are asked by this Brahmin, Bharavaja. So in the passage that we actually did not talk about, steps towards the realization of truth, is this Brahmin. Brahmin actually asked the Buddha. He said, we think this is true. We think this is true, and anything else is wrong. He asked the questions to the Buddha because this is actually been taught down from the tradition, passed through oral traditions, oral transmissions, and it's been preserved in our literatures. So we come to define a conclusion: this is true, and everything else is wrong. So we remember we talk about that in the Kalama Sutta, right? Oh, that's why I didn't want to repeat reciting these two. It's all similar to the Kama Sutta. So actually the Buddha in these 2 pages that we actually skip, he actually answers to the Brahmin, to Bharavaja. And he said, Bharavaja, among all Brahmins, is there a single Brahmin who always says, I know this, I see this, and only this is true, anything else is wrong? So what did Bharavaja actually answered? Because you did not read, so you probably won't know the answer. And he said, no, master, no, nobody can say this. And so the Buddha kept asking him questions. And the second is that among the Brahmins, is there even one single teacher, or a single teachers back 7 generations of teachers could say this is true, and what I see is true, and I see this, and only this is true, anything else is wrong? And so the Buddha actually asked Bharavaja, so what do you think? Is there a teacher past in the last 7 generations could say this? And Bharavaja, what is his answer? He said, no. So the Buddha kept asking, okay, so there are actually let's see, where are they? Okay, I think is here. I think it's 98. Yeah, page 98, the first paragraph, and there is the Ataka, Vamaka, Vamadiva, Visamita, Yamataki, the line 4. So there are these 10 funny words, okay? And Rasa, page 98, Bharavaja, Vasata, Kassapa, and Bhikkhu. So these are the 10 inspired, divinely inspired authors who wrote the Vedic hymns. Yeah? So these people, they were divinely inspired. Divinely inspired, that means they were in somehow during their life, they were inspired by heavenly beings. And so they wrote all these Vedic hymns. And so the Buddha asked them, okay, so did these ancient Brahmas sees this? We know this, we see this, only this is true, anything else is wrong. So what do you think, Bharavaja? The Buddha asked him. Bharavaja said, no, Master Gautama. So Buddha said to him, so it seems that Bharavaja, there is not even one single Brahmin could say, I know this, I see this, and this is only true. Anything else is wrong. There's not even one Brahmin can see this. So if you do feel that this is true, and this is true what the Brahmin said, then the Brahmin are just like a file of blind men. File of blind men, 3 blind men. The first one is blind, he doesn't see. The second one is blind, so he doesn't see. The third one is blind, he doesn't see. So 3 of them are blind. Where are they going to go? How are they going to go anywhere? Because not even one of them can see things. So that's why he said in the second paragraph, suppose there were a file of blind men, each in touch with the next one. The first one doesn't see, the middle one doesn't see, the last one doesn't see. So in regard to the statement that Brahmins seem to be like a file of blind men, the first one doesn't see the truth, the second one doesn't see the truth, so does the third one doesn't see the truth. So what do you think? He said, Bharavaja, in that being so, does not the faith of the Brahmins turn out to be groundless? So whatever you actually have faith in the Brahmins, in the teachings of the Brahmins, where are you going to what ground are you going to lay onto it? Are you basing on? Which ground? What ground? Just blind faith, yes. Blind faith. So it's groundless, right? So the faith is groundless. So if a faith is groundless, do you think that faith is going to lead you to anywhere? Blind faith? No. So Varavijaya said, then they honor it not just out of faith, but they also honor it out of oral tradition. So, so this is a constant argument of human mind, is, okay, this doesn't work. No, there is another reason why we base on this, because of based on oral traditions. So the Buddha said, okay, initially you say it's based on faith, now you say it's based on oral tradition. So what is going to happen? Then the Buddha said, now there are 5 things, Paravijaya, that's the last paragraph on page 98. That may turn out in 2 different ways here and now. There are 5 things. He said, that may turn out different, okay? He said, first is faith, and then second is approval, and then the third one is oral tradition, and then reasoned cogitation, and then acceptance of a view as a result of pondering it. Do these 5 actually appear very familiar to you? Yeah? Have you seen these 5 things before? Where? Kalama Sutta. Well done. Yeah. Kalama Sutta. Are you familiar with Kalama Sutta? Have you read the book?
No.
Ah. Go back and read it. It's in the second chapter. Okay. It's called Kalama Sutta. Okay. So this is actually the 5 out of the 10 things that you should not just believe in. That's why it comes to investigating the teacher, investigating the teachings, right? So faith, anything just based on faith, anything just based on because it is approved, or anything just based on because this is passed down by oral tradition or recent cogitation, or I ponder upon it, then I accept it. He said, it could turn out very different. Why? He said, now something may be fully accepted out of faith, yet, he said, it may be empty, it may be hollow, it may be false, but something else may not be fully accepted out of faith, but yet it may be factual, it may be true and unmistaken. And so on with the next 4. Okay. What actually he taught here, can you think of anything that you can give an example? Something that you base on faith, it could be hollow, it could be empty, it could be false. But yet something that you are not basing on faith, but yet it could be factual. You may not be fully accepting it because of faith, but it is factual, and it is true, and it is unmistaken. Any example? Okay. No answers.
I think a lot of religions actually work on this.
Based on faith. You could say that, but I don't want to say that they are hollow, though.
Well, I mean,
Nibbana, yeah.
how do I know? I just know until I experience it.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Or anything just very mundane, based on faith. Do any of you buy lottery tickets? No? Oh, you don't have faith? You do? Do you have faith when you go and buy lottery tickets that you're going to win?
If you don't buy, you won't win.
Okay, so you have a faith that you may win.
No, that's a chance.
Okay.
A very small chance.
Okay. I don't know whether you can call that a little faith in going there because of taking that chance. There is still a little bit of faith in there.
You having a little bit of faith in luck.
In luck, yeah. In luck, right, yeah. But yet it is hollow, isn't it? It is not factual.
What about having faith that you are going to get up in the morning?
Faith getting up in the morning.
That yeah.
The
like
faith
when
that you
go
are
to
going to get.
bed
Oh,
at
yeah,
night,
oh, yeah, right.
Thinking, like,
Oh, I'm
faith
gonna-
that
yeah,
you're going to get up
In the morning, but not necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is a fact.
I think it is like the lottery. You're not sure you're going to wake up.
We're not
Following
very
morning.
sure. We're
Yeah.
not very sure.
Yes, yeah, it is.
But you have to have faith that you're going to wake up in the morning, otherwise you
But
won't
that
get
is
up.
hollow. Because that's Sister nature. We might not be able to get up in the next morning. The fact is, we might not be able to get up because it's impermanence. So that faith in that you're going to get up in the morning is hollow because it's not factual. But if you say, okay, I might not be able to get up next morning, then that faith is factual.
Okay.
You understand? What's your name?
Finale.
Oh, sorry, I haven't met you before. Have I? No, okay. So is that a good example? Okay. Everybody accept that example and that faith in luck, little luck, of getting a lottery ticket. You have anything, inspirations? Okay. So don't try that luck. Yeah. I mean, well, you could try. How much you pay? $2 for a lottery ticket?
It depends on the type.
Oh, I see. Okay. I don't know anything about this. But I see people going in there every day. You know, no wonder why that counter is so busy. Eh? Okay.
But I mean, faith, you shouldn't have a blind faith. But unless you have some faith, you won't investigate. You're not motivated to investigate.
Very good. Very good. But that faith has to really based on some facts, and then true, unmistaken. Unmistaken is actually very, very. I think it's actually very important. You go and buy faith in luck. Go and get a lottery ticket. There's no mistakes. It's no wrongdoings at all. But you have to have understanding that you may not win. Don't mistaken that you will always win. Gambling, yeah, like those slot machine, right? Yeah. So you think that you put in a 25, I don't know how much, what to do with those slot machine. Is it 25 cents or $1 or $2? I don't know. But if you put it in and you just, what do? You pull the handle and then like that? Not necessarily. So when you win, maybe they come out a couple of two, and then you will say, oh, well, you see, I put in one, I got two. Now I put in two, I may get four. Then that's mistaken, right? That is a very wrong view. That's mistaken, and that is based on very hollow ideas, and it's not factual. All right?
So the factual part of that would be putting money into the lottery machine, knowing full well that you probably will not
Exactly.
get anything.
Yeah, and that is
Cost
that is unmistaken view. Okay, good. So he said, it is not proper for a wise man who preserves the truth to come to the definite conclusion. Only this is truth. Anything else is wrong. So we have to open up our mind and remember this. Only this is true. Ask yourself or ask ourselves, how many times in our life we think this is true, everything else is wrong? Put up your hand. Yeah. Yeah. We think that I am so correct, I'm so right, and everybody else is wrong. So remember this. That's why I put it in italic. I seldom use italic because I don't like italic. But I think this is very important to remember, to bear in mind. And this is one very important teachings of the Buddha. That's why if we could actually remember this, we could stay in a very, very objective standpoint most of the time. If we are able to remember that and put that into practice. Okay? So the next chapter, the pages that we read is about this, the truth. First is about, the preservation of truth. Okay? And the preservation of truth. And it says here, it said, my faith is thus, but he does not yet come to the definite conclusion, only this is truth, and anything else is wrong. But here, even this, he said, there is no discovery of truth yet. Okay, even if you have this faith, there is no discovery of truth yet. Why? Because there is a whole chain of developments that one has to cultivate, has to develop in the mind before we can actually arrive to the ultimate goal, to actually reach to the arrival of truth. Okay? So there is no discovery of truth yet, just basing on faith. So then this whole chapter, this whole few pages that we talk about is going to touch on these few topics: the preservation of truth and the discovery of truth, and last of all, but the most important of all, is the what? The final arrival of truth, or the final arrival to see the truth. So in here, in these few pages, he actually listed out, the teachings actually listed out a chain of cultivation, or a chain of mindset that we need, that is required in order to actually preserve the truth and discover the truth and eventually to arrive at the truth. Okay? So I put that into a flow chart to make it a little bit easier to understand. So faith. The first one is faith. So he said that right in here is on page 100. He said when somebody go to the teacher and investigate, when he has investigated him because he is free of greed, three of the three poisons, right? Free of the greed, free of the anger, and free of the delusion or ignorance. So then he investigate, this teacher is free, that's why he can, the teachings that he teach is very profound and is wonderful. And so he investigated him, he's pure. So that's at page 100. He examines him. So here's the Dhamma, and then he places, because he's so pure, because he checked him, he investigated him, he's free of all these three poisons. So he started to have faith in him, or the faith in his teachings, like all of us do, right? Because when we encounter the teachings of the Buddha, we say, oh, yes. And then even though the Buddha is not here anymore, but we read about his life, we read about his stories, we read about his teachings, and we are attracted by it. And we have said, oh, this is somewhat the thing that I'm looking for. then there is this faint faith in there. Okay, and because of this faith or strong faith, is very different with individual. So with this faith, then you will start to look for it, right? Yes, Bob.
So if you have strong faith, does that mean you stop questioning?
No, you don't stop questioning. You don't stop questioning. But faith,
What is faith?
huh?
What is faith? I thought that was the main question.
No, faith is the quality of the mind that you have confidence in this person or in the teachings that will allow you to reach the goal. But throughout the path, we have questions. And just if we are just basing on the faith, not basing on experiencing the teachings, then that becomes a blind faith. So a faith-based, the teachings that the Buddha taught about faith is not the blind faith. That's why in the Kalama Sutta, he said, you don't just believe in the teachings. You have to go through all this. And even you have to investigate your teacher. Okay? So faith. And then you go and visit. Like all of you come and visit Po Lam, and then you got stuck here.
Isn't faith, it seems like a different level.
Of course, there is a different level of faith. Of course, there is a little. That's why I said little faith or a strong faith. Strong faith is because with this little faith, then you constantly experience. You constantly you study, then you experience. You study and you experience. Right? The more you study, the more you experience. Then you. With this flowchart, it goes on. You memorize and you actually examine, you ponder, and you accept, and blah 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 blah. All that. Then, like children, when they don't know how to walk, they test. Then, when they have faith in themselves, that means they have confidence that they can walk from here to mommy. Then they will walk, but they wobbled. But when they can walk a little bit firmer, steadier, they walk with such confidence and faith, then they know that they will reach there. Then when they grow older, they're stronger, then they know that they can start running. So different levels.
Sometimes just Chinese Baba, they have very strong faith and then without questioning.
Oh, yeah, the Chinese, the rites and rituals. Yes. Yeah, that is very, very, you're right. In not just in Chinese, but in many religions too. They have very strong faith, and they know they are not allowed to question. One, right? They are not allowed to question. And some, they don't question. Because they don't have a question mind. They don't need to question. And is it a bad thing not to question? Not really. Not really.
If it makes you a good person.
Exactly.
You're following the
At least that is the first level, is to be a wholesome person, a good person, a person with wholesomeness, and not to commit too many mistakes, right? So that is at least the first or the basic level, right? You have questions? No. Okay. All right. You should have questions. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Okay. All right. Visiting. Then you go and visit, and some people got stuck, or some people stay, or some people go. Some people come and go. You visit. That means you visit the teachers. You visit the place. You visit ashram, you visit whatever, that you can actually learn things, experience, okay? And then you said you pay respect. why paying respect so important in arriving to the preservation of faith or a final arrival of faith, of truth? Why paying respect is one of the cultivation.
Lessen your ego so that you can actually continue.
Okay.
You already
Very good.
don't need to go any further.
Yeah, lessen the ego. That means you become less arrogant. So, ego is just like those fatty oil got stuck in your downpipe, in your sink pipe, got stuck, and no water can go through. So you need to degrease it once in a while, so that water can go through. Right? You don't get a plugged sink. So if one is arrogant, if one is very ego, why? Whatever they hear or whatever they see, no, mine is right. Everything else is wrong. So that's why paying respect is actually learning to be humble, right? That's why whenever we come into the hall, the first time in the day, then we need to pay respect to the Buddha, to the Dhamma, and to the Sangha. Why? Because first time in the day, then we remember that the teacher, right? The teacher and the teachings and the community are jewels, a support to us, for us to grow. So paying respect. And then it says giving year. Giving year, that means you pay attention, right? You pay attention, not just ear, but the eyes, the body, everything. You pay attention. That means, I just read. I'm reading a book, and it's by a very renowned Zen master, and she's also a pianist. And she went to learn. She wanted to upgrade her piano, like different level of piano, right? She actually wanted to go to a very world-renowned pianist to learn the piano. And she actually stayed with him for 3 months. And you know what? What did he teach her? Just a few notes. Every day the same note. And she got so upset. She cried. And she said, I'm already so good. But yet, every time I play those notes, he said, no. For 3 months. And at the end, I think, I couldn't really remember. I think at the end of 2.5 months or so, she said, why did he always say no? Really, I play so bad? And then the next few lessons that she went, she actually sat there and not looking at the teacher, but really paying attention, listening, giving ear. And I was so, I just smiled when I read this paragraph, giving ear. Eventually, after a couple of lessons, and she played the same note, not a long song, just like dun 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 dun, that's all. And he said, yes, you finally heard. You see, giving ear is so important. How many times have we heard? But yet, we haven't learned. How many times? Right? So, giving ear. And hearing the Dhamma. Right? Of course, this is about hearing the Dhamma, the teachings. Memorizing. Sorry, you see? Memorizing. That's why I said to you last year, memorizing is so important in really learning the teachings. Because if you don't memorize, it's just like the water, shying away from the duck's body. The ducks dive, they come up, they're all dry, right? So the water doesn't stay on a duck's body, the feather, they don't stay. So if we do not memorize, we just read, I tell you, it's just like those water. It flows by. You don't remember. When you don't remember those teachings, what happens? Exactly, you go back to old ways and old habits. And when vicissitudes haunt you, then you go back to the old reactive pattern behavior, right? So how are you going to change? How are you going to arrive at the truth? How are you going to preserve the truth? How are you going to understand the truth and examine and use the truth? You can't, because you can't remember, right? So you have to remember a strawberry cake. It's nice. The next time you go and buy a strawberry cake, right? You won't buy anything else because I have tasted strawberry cake in this bakery and it is good. Right? So you have to remember. Then after memorizing, then you examine the meaning. You examine the, okay, so the Buddha said anicca, the Buddha said impermanence, the Buddha said everything is arising and passing. So do I really have to react so strongly? Do I really have to scratch my head when it's itchy? To rub my eyes when it's dry? I don't. Because I know this will also pass. So I don't have to scratch it. Because because I know it arises, it will go away. But out of a habit, when it itches, we just scratch. Sometimes it's out of aversion towards the itch that we scratch. Or sometimes out of craving for comfort, we scratch. You see? So that is examining the meaning of teachings. You examine, because the Buddha said this, okay, I have to examine this. How? Examine through your own experience. Not examine the words. The words are just mere words. You examine them through your experience. Then you think about it. You contemplate, and then you justify, and then you see, oh yes, this is what he taught. And after examining the meaning, after pondering over it, and then I experience that, then I will accept it. I accept the teaching, or I accept the teacher or whatever. It's better to accept the teaching. It's actually accepting the teaching. Okay? And then accepting the teaching, what happens next is you want to use the teachings, don't you? There is a desire. Yeah? Why do you want to come to Po Lam every Tuesday night? Yeah. Why do you desire to learn? You want to be a better people. Yeah. Then when you decide to learn, when you decide to become a better people, how are you going to become a better person? Then you have to what? Apply it, right? The application of the will. The application of wanting to become better. The application of teachings that you have memorized, that you have understood, and that you have experienced, and you have to integrate into your daily life. And here, why do you think he put in scrutinize here? It could be, question. Yeah, questioning. So questioning your experience, questioning your will, questioning whatever that could what?
I was gonna say, you should be
Questioning.
questioning your desire as well.
You
Make
can,
sure that it's always
you question everything, the truth. In order to accept the teachings, you need to ponder, you need to think about it, and then you need to examine it. When you examine that, how do you examine it? Because you memorize already, you know the teachings already. So then you're able to examine. What are you going to memorize? Because you hear the Dhamma. There is teachings there for you to hear, to understand, to learn. That's why you have things to memorize. And because you have ears, you're given ears, that's why you can hear. Then you go back. Why would you give ear? Because you respect, you go and pay respect. You visit them. You visit them, why do you visit? You go back because you have faith. I look at this just now. I was meditating just now, and this flowchart came to my mind. I thought this is a dependent origination. Isn't it? Right? But it's the dependent origination that I think most of you understand is why things arise, why our life is like this. But this is a dependent origination of final arrival of truth, or to truth. Yes.
So where would we be in this flowchart right now?
Very good. Very good. So, reflections. Faith. So I'm going through these 14 points, all right? Memorizing, examining the meanings, pondering, accepting the teachings, desire, application of will, scrutinize, strive, final arrival at truth. 14. So, of all these stages, where are we? Where are we?
All over the place.
All over the place. So you know where.
It keeps moving.
You keep changing. Okay, all right. I want you to go and reflect, go home. How are we going to rise up? How are we going to, if we just have faith, how are we going to arrive at final arrival to truth? Okay, reflect upon this. And the third is, of all these, which one appeals to you most? Or none of them, or all of them. And then, do we really have to start from faith?
Can I make a comment? Listening to people talk about faith, I think the word itself might be confusing.
I tell you, I kept saying this, Sandra. The first day I start teaching, I said, the English language is very limited. And sometimes it causes a lot of confusion. Faith in the Pali word is sattha. So it's different.
So faith might be curiosity?
It could be curiosity, interest, it could be, whatever that you...
It kind of makes sense to me, but I don't understand it yet.
Yeah. So I like to use Pali word. Should we have a discussion next week on these reflections? Okay, think about this. Interesting, eh? Very interesting. Okay, so let us dedicate the merits, okay? May these blessings extend to all, that we with all the other living beings together will attain the Buddha way. May we wish more and more people will encounter the words of the Buddha, study them, understand, and strive in the practice so that they can, or we can, all liberate ourselves from our own dukkha, and be ultimately happy, peaceful, and liberated. Good night, everyone.